All right. Wow. Thank you everyone for coming in person and virtually. We're really excited to have our OnRamp Stimulate Your Startup Pitch competition. We're really excited to have you all here. I'd also really love to thank Tom Webster for getting this going here and just putting together such an incredible cohort of people. And we're just so excited to see all of everyone's hard work that they've put on through the past 8 weeks. So with that, I will turn things over to Tom to get things started here. And thank you all.
You're very welcome, and thank you for that, Emily. But I'm going to go to my partner in crime who's helped me organize and put together such an incredible program over the last 10 weeks. Angela, to basically open up for us and give everybody, you know, a great welcome as we wrap up this amazing first cohort.
All right. Well, thanks, Tom. I didn't prepare anything, but welcome everyone. I'm really excited that this first cohort, you know, was very successful, and we had 54 participants, which is amazing. And Tom, thank you again. You did such a wonderful job. So we have our 10 pitches tonight that we're really excited to see. It's going to be a very tough competition. So judges, get ready. Yeah, and Tom, it's been a pleasure to work with you. So
indeed, it has been.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, Angela. And again, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to OnRamp's first pitch competition. It's been an amazing 10 weeks, and I want to thank everybody again for inviting me to participate with them in this journey. As has already been stated, my name is Tom Webster. I have been honored to be the inaugural founder in residence for this program. I am also the host for this evening's pitch competition. And really, we're excited to really hear what you have learned, what you have experienced, and the stories that you're going to blow us away with tonight about what it is that you're going to do to change the innovation ecosystem all over this country. We have 10 presentations tonight, and the first thing I want to say is that all of you are already winners. You've traveled this amazing journey with us over the last 10 weeks, including 8 weeks of workshops, an amazing kickoff event with some dynamic founders, as well as a week of coaching last week in preparation for the competition. And now it's time. We have a group of amazing judges tonight that I'm excited to have participate and give you feedback. Each of you will have 5 minutes to do your presentation, and then 5 minutes for Q&A from the judges. Our judges include alphabetically by first name, Aron from the Science Center. We have Deldlep Medina from Black and Brown Founders. We have Eamon Gallagher, also from the Science Center and the director of IC 3401. We have Glen Gaddy from the PACT, Philadelphia's Angel Investor Network. We have Kevin Williams, my good friend, actually business partner on a number of projects from Black Squirrel Collective. And of course, Tanya Mars, who I'll give a little bit more introduction to about because she has some amazing information to share with you at the end of our presentation. So, without anything being said, any more being said, you've had a chance to practice, you had a chance to plan, now you have a chance to do. So are we ready to get started? Are we ready to get started? Judges, are you ready? Okay, next we're going to Kiddie Kredit and measure. You're up behind Kiddie Kredit. So, Kiddie Kredit, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. All right, give Kiddie Kredit the controls, please.
All right, Mike, you have ability to share your screen.
I have the control. All right, so the number one question of 2020 to 2021 is, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah. Good, okay, cool, just making sure. Okay, so I'm ready. You can go ahead and hit my timer whenever we're good to go. I'll get going. Okay, so I want you to think back to when you first learned about credit. For the majority of us, it was from experience. If you're anything like myself, it was from negative experiences where you've already made far too many mistakes. My name is Mike Gross. I am co-founder and COO of Kiddie Kredit, which is a mobile chore tracking app designed to teach kids about credit and prepare families for the risks of using it. Now, the problem is we can't share what we weren't taught. For the majority of us, we were never given a quality financial literacy education, so there's no real expectation that you would be able to share that with your children. And for my generation, what I was never given, I won't be able to share with my children either. So unfortunately, that has led to a lack of financial literacy and bad debt being inherited more than anything else. To that point, 2 out of 3 Americans can't pass a basic financial literacy test. And 4 out of 10 Americans don't even understand how their credit scores were calculated. What that leads to is everything being more expensive, missed opportunities, and frustration and heartache that could have been avoided otherwise. We know that credit is one of the most important tools to generate wealth and upward mobility for individuals and communities when leveraged properly. So our solution is to teach credit way in advance of you ever having to actually use it. Our app teaches credit first through activity completion and reward redemption. In 3 simple steps, an admin adds a chore or activity for an adolescent to complete. The adolescent completes that chore and receives a credit score, and that score entitles them to a certain number of reward points, which they can then use to redeem. Now, also our scoring model mirrors FICO exactly. So you can think of a missed chore like a missed payment. The longer you've been doing a set of chores, it's like the longer you've had an account. And if you're always asking for too many rewards, it's like having too many inquiries on your credit report. Now, we feel that those that need it most shouldn't be the ones paying for it. So as opposed to a B2C model, we go with a B2B2C model, where we are working with organizations like Equifax and YMCA to allow them to provide this service as a value add to their constituents and customers. In addition to that, we have a product placement engine that you can consider much like Credit Karma for Kids, which will allow financial institutions to be able to offer 529 savings accounts or specialized checking accounts or other things that are geolocated specifically where those families are. Additionally, we have educational content that is built out, or is being built out, that can function within and outside of the app. Now, looking at the space, there are a number of financial literacy for kid apps already. Greenlight, GoHenry, GoalSetter, Step, these are all high-powered organizations doing some really great work. But there are none that are specifically focused on credit the way we are. The closest was Credit Stacker, which was kind of like a Candy Crush with some financial literacy in it. We are the first and only chore tracking app that is specifically focused on teaching about credit. Additionally, we have a partnership with Equifax, one of the 3 major credit bureaus, to be both a partner and a client, which provides us both credibility and insight into the industry. Additionally, our product recommendation engine, as well as educational content, make the app stickier for both families and children. We feel our most important advantage is our high quality team. Our founder, Evan Leapart, is my brother. Our CTO is our in-house engineer. He is a lead engineer at Amazon, as well as holds a Master of Science in Finance. There's a lot more that I would share, but I'm certain I'm going to run out of time. For our seed round, we are presently raising $1.5 million on a safe with a $5 million valuation and a 20% discount and pro rata rights. At present, we have secured roughly 70% of that. And lastly, our future plans are to create a platform that can issue the world's first credit card based off of what you have learned as opposed to what you have earned. Again, my name is Michael Gross from Kiddie Kredit. I thank you for your time and attention, and will happily answer any questions that you have now. Thank you.
Mike, thank you for that. Judges.
Great job, Michael. This is Tanya from Mommy Business. Can you talk a little bit more about the Academy really quickly? I love that last part about credit as you go, based on what you learn.
Sure.
What you earn.
So our app presently is focused on children ages 4 to 12.
Mhm.
Our next iteration is going to be for older children and then young adults. So as they are progressing through our ecosystem, they will have learned a considerable amount of skills and abilities, and they will be a much safer risk for any credit provider. So now that you know that these individuals, one, have a history of positive habits, as well as the right mentality, they are much less of a credit risk. So that will allow us to either pass them along to any of our banking partners, or another thought that we have is creating and issuing our own credit card ourselves based off of what these children are able to do.
Yeah.
Adults are able to do, excuse me.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Further questions from any of the judges? Okay, like you're gonna
Hey,
give me some
Mike.
time back. I like that.
Eamon,
Thank you. Thank you.
real quick, I do have a
Yes.
question. Just give me a minute for the mic to
Please.
turn on. So 2 questions. One, you have an app in the market. What are you learning about users and how they're using it? And is it doing what you originally designed it to do? That's question 1. Question 2 is there are obvious privacy issues related to targeting 4 to 12-year-olds with an app. How are you handling those particular issues?
Absolutely. Thank you for those, Eamon. So the first question around the app. Yes, our app is live and available in both app stores. We've had roughly 6,000 families interacting in the app and roughly 60,000 chores previously completed. One of the things that we have specifically found is we need to do much more hand-holding on the front end. The onboarding process for this app is something that we really have to take time and ensure that we have correct, because if and when someone doesn't get it, they move on. And it's like many things with money. We can very easily bury our heads in the sand and not think about it anymore when we don't understand something. And this works out the same way. If there are any pain points, if there are any confusion, that's where we see drop off. So our big focus has really been around ensuring our onboarding is smooth and that it is an enjoyable experience for families. That's the first thing. Your second question, remind me of the second one again.
Privacy.
Privacy, yes. There is something called COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and everything we do has to be put through that lens. So there is never any information shared outside of that individual family unit about that individual family unit. The app is run through an admin parent, and the only information that comes to us specifically right now is about the parent. There are things about the child just generally, let's say how often they log on, how regularly they're using it, how long they're in the app. Those kinds of things are collected, but we ensure that we do not take and or share any information about children, because COPPA compliance is huge. And if and when you mess that up, you might as well just quit now, because you'll be in lawsuits and lose any funding you had anyway. So we are very aware of COPPA and ensure that we are adhering to it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Before we sign out, let's move on. Let me also ask about a little bit more about your pricing.
Sure.
You did your comparisons, and I thought you did a great job in terms of who your competitors were, but I didn't see anything that compared the pricing, and to get a sense of where your pricing lies. Is it above where your competition is? Sure. Below?
Yeah. So we are roughly about the same. So right now we are a freemium app. When our next iteration of the app comes out, it will be a paid app. It'll be $4.99 in the App Store, just like any of the other partners. But our big focus is really around going to the corporations as opposed to the individual consumers. So we look at what would be a $60 a year investment for a family. We are looking at a $50 a year investment for an organization to be able to buy in round lots. So we are eerily similar in price to many of the other organizations, but our focus is a bit different. Our focus is around those organizations and ensuring that we get them in larger numbers as opposed to one family at a time. hopefully that answers the question. I apologize. I saw I was running out of time.
Well, no, at that time, Mike, it's on the judges for the last 5 minutes, so that's not held against you. Judges, any more questions before we move on?
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Measure, you're next, and Mission Athletics, you're up.
All right. Can you guys, oh, I can't really see the screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So hi, my name is Dr. Rebecca Clark. I'm a nurse midwife, PhD prepared researcher, and the CEO and founder of Measure Co. and the inventor of the Measure device, which accurately and reliably measures blood loss after giving birth in real time. So here's the problem. Bleeding out after you give birth or having a postpartum hemorrhage is the #1 killer of childbearing women worldwide. That's about 140 million women per year giving birth, and postpartum hemorrhage is the #1 killer. You can see that circle there on the right. It's the #3 killer of childbearing women in the US, and that's about 4 million women per year. About 20% of women, 1 in 5 women, have no risk factors for a postpartum hemorrhage at all. So we always measure blood loss after a woman gives birth. But we have a major clinical problem. We have no accurate real-time way of measuring that blood loss. This is such an issue that the American College of OBGYNs published a white paper on the problem at the end of 2019. So what do we do currently? Well, currently, most providers eyeball blood loss. That is real time, but it is not accurate. And they use that to guide their clinical decision making. Eyeballing blood loss is notoriously inaccurate because you really underestimate the amount of blood that a woman is losing. Gravimetry, or weighing the pads and the drapes that are under a woman, is currently the way that most people do it if they need to have something, a way of measuring that's more accurate, but that still isn't very accurate because those drapes and the pads underneath the woman, they catch everything. So the picture here on the left is an obstetrical drape. It's actually a really fancy one. It's hard to see, but it's calibrated and has a nozzle to release fluid in the drape. Most drapes that you'll find in a hospital don't have the calibration and they don't have the nozzle on the bottom. But this is still what we use typically. So it takes a nurse out of rotation just to gather those things, go and weigh them. You can see that it's out of line of sight of the provider, and it really gets in the way of the birth workflow, especially if you're in an emergency, to have to gather all that stuff and go weigh it. Colorimetry has been proposed, but it's not widely used. It's better suited for the operating room. Blood draws are an option, but they're definitely not real time, even though they're accurate. All this to say we have a major clinical need and a significant market. Birth is actually the most common reason for hospital admission in the US, and every woman needs her blood loss measured accurately and in real time to guide clinical decision making. So the Measure device is the solution to this problem. It's a medical device designed to accurately measure postpartum blood loss in real time to allow for effective clinical decision-making and healthcare team communication. A non-provisional patent has been filed with the USPTO. This is a single-use device made of medical-grade plastic. With regards to product service viability, blood loss is measured at every birth, and like I said, there are roughly 4 million in the US each year. So this device is designed to integrate into a typical birth workflow. We already put something under a woman at each birth. So this is going to be easy for providers to use. There is going to be a low barrier to entry. The device is lightweight. It'll be easy to ship in bulk. It's made from common materials and using a common method. Measure is a B2B company, so we'll be selling to hospitals purchasing birth supplies. With about 135 births in Pennsylvania, 4 million in the US, and then 140 million worldwide. There's plenty of room to grow. So you can see that this device is within the line of sight. It is calibrated. There is a nozzle to empty blood so that you don't have to take this out in case of an emergency. There's also a little colander there to catch large blood clots, which happens when a woman is bleeding out. So our next steps, previously Measure received FabNet funding from Ben Franklin Technology Partners, which allowed us to refine and test the prototype of the device. Measure is a body waste receptacle, and it's exempt from FDA pre-market notifications and GMP requirements. OnRamp funding will allow us to produce 10 prototypes to give to providers for their feedback, and then incorporate that feedback. And it will also allow us to have our regulatory specialist establish general controls and create a standard operating procedure prior to creating a first small run of that device. So like I said, my name is Dr. Rebecca Clark. I bring my clinical expertise and experience to the table. I have delivered hundreds of babies. I also bring my expertise as a scientist and as a researcher. Mike safely listed here has many years of supply chain, logistics, negotiations, and contract expertise and experience. We also have 2 advisors with between them decades of experience and expertise in business and in moving a medical product from bench to market. We also have working relationships with an industrial designer, a patent attorney, and a regulatory specialist. So the little girl on this slide is my daughter, Anna. 7 months ago, after a healthy and uneventful pregnancy, I gave birth. I had no risk factors for a postpartum hemorrhage, but I started bleeding out after I gave birth to her. My provider was guesstimating how much blood I lost. And afterwards, my husband said we could have really used that device you created. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. All right, judges, you are up.
Hi, this is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, this is Aron Starosta. I am Vice President of Commercialization at the Science Center. My question is, I noticed the material that you're using is plastic and I assume disposable. And I understand that you talked about shipping and so forth, you know, being a factor in designing this, but is there any logic or, you know, considering the state of the world we're in now, creating a non-disposable, reusable product to do the exact same thing?
Yeah, we have considered that, and that certainly is a possibility. We don't want to use metal because even though that's easy to sterilize, it's really uncomfortable to sit on, especially after you've given birth. I do think that there are plastics that could be multi-use. So our initial thought had been, you know, to keep the price point low and work with, you know, a medical grade plastic that was easy to use. But Mike has actually been looking into what it would cost to use plastics that could be sterilized and could be multi-use. And so, yeah, no, that is something we're considering. It's a great question.
Dr. Clark, this is Tanya. I'm just wondering, when do you anticipate being able to go to market, and what are your plans for some type of pilot with a neighboring hospital? Where are you at in that part of the process?
Yeah, so by the end of this year, I would hope that we have gotten those 10 prototypes out to providers, that we've gotten their feedback, and that we're actually starting to create the first small batch. I'm on the board for the American College of Nurse Midwives here in the state of Pennsylvania. And so I have contacts with midwives throughout the state. And as a scientist, I actually have connections with a lot of obstetricians at different hospitals. So I would leverage those to reach out to providers and say, hey, you know, I have this, you know, this device, you know, are you interested? And sort of actually using the providers, because this is such a clinical issue, to then go to their admin and say, hey, we really need this. But so I personally have a lot of connections in the Philly area and then in the state sort of as a whole. So like by the end of the year, want to be generous with the time to have those 10 prototypes and then feedback. And then so starting next year to do a first small batch of 100 and then ramp up. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
This is Kevin. Are there any type of certifications or testing requirements that you would have to meet in order for this to be used in hospitals?
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, there are not. Because it's a body waste receptacle, it actually does not have any pre-market notifications for the FDA. This is sort of like a bedpan or an emesis basin. No, I think we just need to have the standard operating procedure on file. So, which makes things easier as well. I should say, we also aren't marketing this as a diagnostic device, right? So this doesn't diagnose hemorrhage. This helps measure blood loss. If it was a diagnostic device, that would be different.
This is Eamon Gallagher with IC at 34-1 in the Science Center. Thank you for developing this. Without getting too deeply into it, my family has experienced problems that this could help solve. So having something like this, I think is a value add. My question is, based on the white paper outlining the need that was developed or stated, does this meet the specific risk factors and requirements of that white paper is really the first question. And the second question is, beyond the 10 prototype test, What's the goal to get to that 100 prototype test? Is it just more money? Is it thought leadership? Is it your own white paper? What are the other steps necessary to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Both of them are great questions. So the white paper really just said, we don't have a good way of measuring flood loss. I will say, actually, I didn't have time, but the Nurses Association, so the labor and delivery nurses, they actually came out with their paper back in 2015. So this is like all the professionals involved, like this is an issue. And we just don't have a good way of measuring it. I'm actually on the labor and delivery nurses. They've got a listserv, and just about every week, someone emails with, how are you measuring blood loss? And everyone, when they respond, they're using gravimetry. They're sort of gathering everything that has blood in it and they're weighing it. But like I said, it's not just blood. So there was no proposal really. It was more, this is a major issue. We have drapes out there. There are some issues around those calibrated drapes that I think, Measure Device addresses. So that, if that doesn't answer your first question, sort of the white paper. And then I think in terms of getting to that, that 100, certainly raising funds. And then Mike has been looking, there are people, there are companies in the city that could, manufacture the device for us. We could partner with, I think there are a number of them out there. So Mike has looked at that. When I was meeting with NextFab, we talked about some of the options there as well. So it'd be, choosing a partner to manufacture with, raising the funds to actually develop that first small batch, and getting those orders placed. So. And I'm glad to hear that this might be helpful to someone beyond myself. So.
All right, thank you for that.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're very welcome. Any more questions from the judges? How are we doing on time?
Good.
Good.
Wonderfully.
All right, excellent. All right, that was Measure Mission Athletics. You are up, and PopCheck, you're next.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, ready to go. So my name is Marvin Sanders. I'm the CEO of Mission Athletics. So there are many benefits of playing sports, such as the improvement of your mental, physical, and social well-being. However, with over 19% of the US population playing sports, the competitive nature of becoming the best at your sport of choice creates a disparity. This is prevalent in youth sports. Did you know that 70% of kids stop playing sports by the age of 15? It's true. Many young athletes are struggling to take their skills to the next level due to the high cost barrier for personal training and the lack of individualized user-centric sports tech alternatives. But here at Mission Athletics, we have this solution. We are a mobile-based coaching, a video-based coaching app that allows athletes to maximize their potential by improving their form with any exercise so that they can optimize their skills to become an elite athlete. We combine the power of AI with user-submitted videos to give their skills, the athletes data-driven, individualized sports performance and automated feedback needed to optimize their athletic and physical performance improvement. With an increase in online meetings, commercialization of youth sports, and the benefits of playing sports alone, we realize that the timing is right and the opportunity is huge. The US alone spends over $20 billion in youth sports, while an additional $17 billion is spent on coaching and the personal training industry. Currently, we are targeting high school sports teams. Basketball is the first sport that's launching on our platform with the plan of adding additional sports. We are focusing on high school sports within the tri-state area. We were able to build a waiting list with over 1,000+ high intent partners, customers, and channels. Not only that, but with our connections with some high schools in the surrounding areas, 15 teams have committed to pilot the beta app. And lastly, we are working on securing a partnership with the #1 organization in high school sports, which is called the National Federation of State High Schools, AKA NFHS. With the networking in place, we will be able to hit the ground market more efficiently. We provide the value and they provide virality. We are penetrating the market with our freemium-based model and report to receive value right away. We charge an annual fee per sport, per high school and organization, and we know how to monetize through our partnerships and channels. My team and I were already building Mission Athletics to maximize an athlete's potential. I'm an athletic director with over 15 years of experience in the high school, collegiate, and pro sports industry. My COO, Andrew, has knowledge of running a startup company with a specialty in operations to help spearhead growth. And our CTO, Arafa Hassan, has over 30 years of full stack development experience. He's developed a ton of projects and has worked with many mid to large size companies in his tenure. We realized that we have indirect competitors, but instead of thinking that it was a bad thing, we realized, we were excited to see that there is a need in the market. For our indirect competitors, the majority of the apps in the market are catered to fitness. The few sports-oriented apps that we thoroughly researched are using the gamified concept more than utilizing the value-driven approach to elite coaching. Outside from our unique method of evaluating and developing the athlete skills, we are in the process of protecting our technology through the patent process. With the protection in place, this will give us the spark to effectively lead our market. We are currently raising $500,000 in our current investment round for our tech, hiring, and legal needs, while the $5,000 will go toward optimizing our technology. We've built a 10x approach to make elite training accessible to all. We have a passionate and experienced team. We've identified a need. We have a pipeline of high intent users and high schools ready to pilot the beta app and a prototype that will be launching soon. So if you are looking for a way to gain the competitive edge and maximize your potential, we'd love for you to join our mission to maximize your athletic performance improvement through powerful data-driven insights. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Marvin. All right, judges, you're up.
Could you go into your business model? I think I got lost a little bit there.
Yeah. So it's a B2B business model and we're targeting high school teams. So we're charging an annual fee per team that uses the app. So it's per team basis.
And how much is it per team?
So the range that we figured out, depending on the school, is around $450 to $1,200 plus. Depending on the school and the size of the school, it'll be a lower amount. And if it's a higher, more broad school, more stronger school, then it'll be more.
Is that per student?
No, that's per team. So for one basketball team, so say you have a boys basketball team, that's the only team that they want to use it. That's who will use the app. Now, let's just say they do have a girls team as well. We have a discount for that. So that's where the double team discount comes into play.
And so Marvin, is the end goal to help move these students along? Because you started with the fact that many students fall off after, I think it was age 15.
Yep.
So is the end goal to capture that group and help them to move forward if they desire to move on to the next level of the sport that they're engaged in?
Yes. So the reasoning behind that fall off is the three parts of the high cost barrier to personal training or elite coaching. That's huge in sports right now. And if you don't have an elite coach or elite trainer, then that already drops you off into that unknown state where you have the talent, but you don't have the resources to amass that elite status. So we are coming into play to bridge that gap so that athletes have that ability to be the best that they can be and maximize their potential moving forward into their tenure.
Hi, this is Aron Starosta again. What data, if any, do you have on efficacy?
Pertaining to the privacy?
Efficacy, like effectiveness of the protocols that you're using. Like, do you have percent changes? Do you have, in your trials? What data do you have? that this works?
Yes. So it's data based for us. So we were testing the app. So we had a very basic iteration of it in the beginning, where we would just test. We would capture their swing, for baseball, or capture their shot, and then we would compare it to like a professional shot or professional swing. And the data points has a 95% accuracy rate, meaning that it shows that there were some slight issues with every part of the body. So we compare 15 parts of the body, and with all the parts of the body, the overall percentage of accuracy was 95%.
Just make sure y'all not comparing the shooting to number 25 that plays for the 76ers. I think you'd be okay. I'm sorry.
I'm a Sixers fan. I can't say anything.
That was easy. That was low hanging fruit, Tanya.
That was.
I know. It was there for me. I had to take a shot.
and you took it. Yeah. Good.
Marvin,
good.
Quickly. One of the things you want us to believe is that coaching keeps people involved in sports. Is that, can you truly make that leap, or is it just availability of sports as people get older, or self-realization, which I had at a very early age, which is I'm not good at this no matter how much I enjoy it.
Right.
Tell me how you're trying to differentiate those, because if the ultimate goal is to keep kids involved in sports, don't you have to meet them where they are?
Yeah, and that's why the app and the technology that we're using, it's not just for someone to go to that elite status. It's for someone to just improve, or if they want to go the recreational route, they could. But this can help, keep your form, or keep your physical, set at up to par. Because if you're working by yourself, or if you're trying to do things by yourself and you get injured, now you can't play the sport that you like. I got injured myself, 2 torn ACLs, but I still play basketball because that's just what I do. I love. And with that app, I could use to not to be, injury prone for the next time I want to jump or get a rebound or take a shot. So this app can be utilized for different ways, not just for the young athlete to aspire to be the next collegiate player or a high-end high school player, in which that's what we're seeing now. But it also can be used for, injury preventment and so forth.
Okay, Marvin, thank you for that. We have to move on. Judges, great questions. PopCheck, you're next, and Steminist Squad, you're following PopCheck. So, Erica, are you ready? Come off mute.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I am having trouble getting to show my screen. I'm sorry. Let's see. Okay. Right. You guys got it?
We have it.
Okay. Let's see it. Are you seeing everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Erica, I think you have to go back, and then instead of pressing presenter view, you press start slideshow. Can you exit out? Yeah. And play from the start all the way to the left.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to.
There you go.
Okay. If I do that, it's going to show everything, right?
Yes.
Let's see. Not sure why this is going on, but is this okay? Is this a problem for anyone?
It's your choice.
Okay. Not sure why it's doing that, but anyway. So my name is Dr. Erica Dillard. I'm the founder and CEO of PopCheck Technologies. 1 of 3 patients experience complications after surgery, usually within the first week of leaving the hospital. And with the push to decrease hospital stay and care, hospital and readmissions, post-op care must evolve to address surgical complications in the outpatient setting. Throughout my surgical training, I have witnessed this deficit firsthand. PopCheck was created to address this problem, when delays in medical attention could ultimately cost a patient their life. So meet Mr. Klein. He's a gentleman with a long history of arthritis in his knees, who unfortunately has had no relief from medications and therapy. He decides to have a knee replacement, and after just 2 days, he's discharged to a rehab facility. In his first few days there, he notices some new calf pain, which limits his ability to work with physical therapy. But like many of us would do, he decided that this was probably just normal pain from surgery. 2 days later, this pain persisted, and he developed shortness of breath, even without doing any activity. With these new symptoms, the nurse became concerned and alerted his physician to urge him to be seen in the emergency room right away. There he would discover these were not normal symptoms, but rather signs of a clot that developed in the deep veins of his leg, known as the DVT. The clot was able to travel to his lungs and cause a pulmonary embolism. Though venous clots are the most common, potentially life-threatening and yet preventable complications with no way to monitor for venous clots, a minor situation quickly escalated into a life-threatening one. Of the 1 million people in the US that suffer from venous clots per year, close to 30% die, many times without any warning sign, carrying a cost burden of over $12 billion a year annually. Our solution, influenced by my years of experience managing high-risk surgical patients, is an AI-driven remote monitoring device that will not only more efficiently prevent clots, but unlike our competitors, provide a means to predict the development of these life-threatening clots through detection of abnormal patterns of physical biomarkers. Once detected, the healthcare provider will be notified, who can then make a decision towards the patient's management. The value we provide is unmatched by our competitors. We are designed to be portable, which allows patients to move around and therefore heal faster. Our device mimics leg muscles contractions in order to increase blood flow, which is more effective at preventing DVTs. We're the only technology that monitors for clots, and we even provide a means for communicating changes in clotting risk through our remote monitoring platform directly to the healthcare team, which encourages a more informed, objective decision in management. By focusing on patients who develop venous clots after surgery, we are able to access a $2.5 billion addressable market, starting with hip and knee replacement patients, a population at highest risk for venous clots, and 1 of 6 conditions heavily monitored by Medicare for unplanned readmissions and complications. Our potential customers range from large acute care centers to patients themselves. However, we will focus our initial efforts on large acute care hospitals, as they provide service for over 70% of hip and knee replacement patients. They're the greatest, provide the greatest accessibility for our diverse KOLs, and are most financially impacted when readmissions and complications do occur. As such, we propose a value-based gain sharing model, revenue model, in which we provide our devices, including monthly monitoring service at a discounted rate, with the agreement to share in savings demonstrated through use of our technology. To date, we have achieved some significant traction from the development of our early prototype, used to perform a preliminary proof of concept study in our cohort of volunteers. We've been fortunate enough to have acquired several awards and recognition, as well as the support through the Patents to Product Fellowship in Memphis, Tennessee, and the University of City Science Center Launch Lane Accelerator and OnRamp program, which provides resources toward commercialization. We've been able to achieve this because of our team. As a founder and CEO, I bring over 15 years of clinical experience in neurosurgery, surgical and neurocritical care, and patient safety, with an emphasis on the unmet needs faced by postoperative patients. Dr. Tamara Bainum serves as advisor and also brings over 15 years of experience in medical device industry, from research and development to commercialization. We have a number of goals to achieve over the next few years involving major commercialization milestones, including a larger scale animal study utilizing our early prototype as we prepare our utility patent in the US. This data will allow us to iterate our prototype to achieve a minimum viable product that will be critical as we develop a regulatory strategy towards subsequent FDA 510(k) clearance. So thank you all for this opportunity. If you would like to join us in as we create technology based on models of safe, effective, equitable, and accessible care that enable patients to recover from surgery stress-free, please reach out to us at the information provided. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sorry about that. Not sure what my screen is doing here.
No problem. Judges?
Or I guess I should continue to share.
Yeah.
Could you go to slide 3 real quick? I just want to take a look at it. This is Del from Black and Brown Foundation.
Sure.
Thank you.
Is this the one you're referring to, or is there another one? Hello?
So I may have missed it, but can you talk a little bit to your sales projections? I didn't quite capture that.
Sure. So in terms of sales projections right now, we are looking at charging, so our revenue model is based off of cost sharing model, right? So what we are able to demonstrate in terms of a reimbursement penalty decrease in costs is what we actually would make on in terms of revenue. We also are utilizing a device and service model as well. So our device individually, and again, we have a very early prototype, so this will likely change as we continue to iterate our prototype. But our early prototype, based off of that, would cost hospitals $199 a piece, and then on top of that, we would have a monthly subscription model in which we would charge for the service that allows the monitoring and the cloud-based data service, as well as the remote monitoring platform for physicians to be able to tap into. So in terms of that, we would really start very small with the large acute care hospitals charging a discounted rate on the $199 per device, and the service would run, typically to be able to utilize one service for all of the patients. We just compare it off of other companies that are similar, would be a $199 or $199 to $200. I'm sorry, $199 to $299 for the service is what I've seen most of the services kind of range. So that's what our pricing mechanism would be. And again, on top of that would be a discount. That's a discounted rate based off of this, the savings we're able to provide for those hospitals.
So I noticed like between you and your partner, both of you guys are obviously in the medical field and understand that pretty well. Do you have somebody on your team that's going to be assigned for the sales and distribution of your product, or is that something that you and your partner plan to tackle?
So no, neither one of us have any sales experience. You're absolutely correct. And as part of my, I think, projections for the next year, part of that is going to be, and it's actually going to be more starting in year 2, is to have a sales hire specifically dedicated to that. Because again, like you said, neither one of us have sales and marketing experience. So we will definitely need someone on the team to provide that service for us as we start to raise funding, that would be something that would be incorporated in terms of the salary for a sales hire.
Del, you had a question. Did you ever get that answer?
Yeah, no, I think that Kevin followed up with the question, so thank you.
Judges? Okay, there's no more question from the judges. So thank you, PopCheck, for that. Steminist Squad, you are up, and System Sculptor, you're on deck.
Can you guys see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Hi, I'm Tanya, president of Steminist Squad, and we're a global community evolving the future for women in STEM. According to the Girl Scouts of America, they found out that 74% of high school aged girls have an interest in the STEM fields. Sorry. Yet the enrollment rate of women in STEM programs is significantly lower. Because of society's dismissal of girls in STEM, many young women give up easily despite their capabilities, and they lack the confidence to change the status quo. The demand for STEM jobs has increased over the past 30 years. In 2020, UC San Diego did a study on women's education and employment in STEM. Women make up only 25% of STEM jobs, which is a direct effect from the disparity in education between genders. On the right, you can see that women only earned 36% of STEM bachelor's degrees awarded in 2018. The world is moving toward a more diverse workforce, but women are not getting the opportunity that they need to succeed. Our solution is simple. We're an online community that supports women and gives them the tools to become successful professionals. We educate, empower, and inspire. We educate our members through mentorship, network, and social media. We empower through our global online community and webinars. We inspire through sharing stories from industry professionals and student leaders on all of our platforms. And through this process, we're given an opportunity to collect and form a data model of the community based upon performance, engagement, and success. This will allow us to use data analytics in real time to monitor any current trends, prevent a loss of diversity, and seek our weak points in industry prep. Most of our operations are self-regulated and moderated by our own members. Our market entry point is young students, preferably in high school or early college. These students will become successful professionals with the support of Steminist Squad. Then they will become mentors for the women who are entering the community. We will be creating a membership cycle that's universally beneficial, and we currently have 80 members within these roles. Our target market can be broken down into 3 sectors. Our total available market is all the women in the fields of STEM, including students and professionals. Our serviceable available market includes the people who benefit the most from our service, which is the current students and recent graduates. And most importantly, our serviceable obtainable market is the high school and college students right now who have lost resources due to COVID-19. This sector contains around 1.6 million young women that our service can reach out to and help today. As I said before, we currently have 80 members from all across the United States and over 300 followers on social media. By 2020, we hope to be able to recruit 10,000 members and create our Steminist Squad program with industry partners. We are projected to reach 50 universities and high schools within the Northeast by 2024, and then our ultimate goal will be in 2026 when we have 300,000 members in our community. We're a self-sustaining organization as we don't have a lot of direct costs. We will support our community through memberships, corporate partnerships, and data sharing. All members can have access to our free resources in our community channel, but their membership upgrade will allow them application resources and connections to become a more successful Steminist model. Partnerships will provide connections for all of our industry to premium members, and our data analytics will enrich the community. And all of this will allow us to fund operations across all of our platforms. You take a look at all of our competitors. The most expensive one would be university associations and sororities, which may offer some personal connections, but not professional development or one-on-one. Anita B and Girls Who Code and associations like that only focus on women in tech. Steminist Squad focuses on social interaction, information sharing, and a better approach to networking to prepare students in STEM. Our community benefits the client and the customer. Our model student will give users exposure, an approachable network, and career development. The value that academia will gain is increased job placement after graduation, a higher quality of applicants, and a better student performance. Industry will gain an opportunity to create an improved quality of employees, longer retention, and satisfaction. And the overall highest value is the connection and collaboration between these three sectors. We need seed funding and mentorship to start our journey by building our content library, resources, and marketing. The purpose of Steminist Squad is to increase interest in STEM, close gender gaps, and build confidence in young women. We want to connect women all over the globe to learn together, uplift each other, and streamline their college experience. Help us build a brighter future today, now, and beyond the pandemic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Tanya. All right, judges.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
So Talia, how are you, because of the lack or the, for lack of a better word, no pun intended, of women in STEM, how are you recruiting your mentors?
That is currently a challenge that I'm working on. I'm going to need some mentorship or guidance. I have currently reached out to Microsoft and IBM to gain access or form a partnership between them. IBM is thinking about giving us access to they have a subcategory of women at IBM to have a mentorship program and access to their digital badges, which will help women with their applications on their resumes.
I had another question, but I remember it.
Yeah, hold that for a minute, Tanya. Anyone else?
Sure. So this is Aron Starosta from the Science Center again. So my question, well, two things. One, I want to offer something up, which is the Science Center. If you haven't met Phil Brooks at the Science Center, we need to make that introduction because Phil works with STEM here and builds a lot of programming around that. And then you could also meet with our First Hand program, which helps young students enter into the STEM field. That's
I'm a little familiar. I think you guys have the Bold program as well, right?
Yeah, that's Phil. Yeah. So if you'd like that intro, we can certainly make that intro. And a couple of the people who are judges here would love to help you with mentoring and so forth in the STEM. That's one. But two, one of the statements that you made sort of struck me, which is that it was social networking that was the missing piece for women to enter STEM. And I wasn't aware of that. Do you have any data or evidence to show that that's the missing piece?
Social media, I think that's
well, networking is what networking is a phrase you work. So I said social networking,
yes.
But yeah.
So both. So we currently have a Discord, and if anyone isn't unfamiliar with Discord, it's an online community chat server. And I think it would be really, I don't know of anyone that has this yet, but connecting all women from all different colleges and mentors in one big chat. And I already have it set up, and there's different channels where everyone can talk and access and ask AMAs or whatever, homework help, volunteer opportunities. I think that's one aspect of networking. That way they just have like a direct connection. And also social media, I think, is such a big thing right now for young women. And we currently, let me see if I can share my screen again really quick. We have like some cool things on our social media. You see here where it says, follow us. So we have a Major Monday where we pull different girls from different colleges, and they talk about what it's like to have engineering at James Madison or UPenn. And it's almost like a inspirational thing. Like, oh, she did it, I can do it too. Or let me ask her, let me join the Discord and ask her some questions of what her major is like. I don't know if that answered your question.
It did, thank you.
Okay.
Tanya?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Aron I was thinking about Phil and Nefertari as well. Some people introduced Talia too.
All right. Okay, any more questions for Talia?
I'll point out that in the chat, Eamon has just dropped some some links that you should pursue.
Thank you, everyone.
You're very welcome. All right. With that being said, okay. System Sculptor, you are up, and Vizmoo, stand by. I understand. I got your text. You are having some technical difficulties. Please keep us abreast.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, I'm ready to start. Good evening, everyone. Think back to when you started your first business. How did you feel? Probably anxious, unsure, and motivated all at the same time. Many people who want to start a business feel the exact same way, and they want instant gratification. It's my idea and I want a business now. But most do not know what it takes to be a business owner. What if there was a guide? Here's the problem. 72% of Americans want to start a business, but they do not have the knowledge to build a successful and sustainable business. We know the top 4 reasons businesses fail are because no market research is conducted, business plan problems, finances or funding, and poor marketing strategy. So if we know this is the problem, what is the solution? Think back to the start of your entrepreneurial journey. Wouldn't it have been great if you had a guide to help you think through, plan, and support your dream? The solution is here. System Sculptor is a new innovative productivity app that assists entrepreneurs with validating their business ideas, mapping out and creating successful business plans, and providing free or reduced fee avenues for support. So if we think back to the top 4 reasons businesses fail, System Sculptor provides a solution to those problems. By providing basic function templates such as a SWOT analysis or a value chain, this MVP provides a method to map out all the parts of a business plan. With planned upgrades, System Sculptor will assist users with a step-by-step guide that will work through the idea validation stage to identify market potential. In addition, the guidance questions are presented in such a way that allow users to easily insert answers and work through the potential of market opportunity. In the initial market research conducted for this app, several entrepreneurs from various industry backgrounds and levels of experience were surveyed. It was concluded that there is an absolute need for System Sculptor in the market. The business model for this app consists of 3 tiers. Free, where you can make up to 3 projects and try it out. The monthly and the yearly subscriptions give unlimited downloads, sharing, and saving for more lengthy projects. The vision for this app surpasses what the MVP currently provides. It is building a database for the planned AI feature. We would like to add more templates, questions, and support. Although it is currently available for mobile and tablet devices, the vision is for the app to be available on desktop platforms. Eventually, we will build partnerships with companies and organizations such as OnRamp to provide support to new entrepreneurs for little or no cost. As previously stated, 72% of Americans want to start a business, so we will focus on entrepreneurs, new, knowledgeable, and experienced to enjoy our product. The focus of our markets does not stop there. Administrators, managers, teams, and companies from a variety of industries will be able to use this app to enhance their existing support operations in their business incubators and accelerators. Currently, there are 582 million entrepreneurs worldwide. 25 million entrepreneurs in the US. So if we take half of that number, it yields 12,500,000 entrepreneurs. And times $65, that's $812 million in the US alone. But is there comparable competition? We know that there are several options available that help with the startup challenges. At System Sculptor, we believe that our competitors can be converted into partnerships. Imagine if we partner with these entities to translate the app into users, which means dollars. So therefore, we see competition translating into opportunity. Opportunity fuels innovation for the app, and innovation supports revenue. The foundation for the success of System Sculptor lies in progressive leadership. I'm a native Philadelphian. I have a Master's of Science in Nonprofit Management from Eastern University. I have over 5 years experience managing nonprofit organizations, which translates into generalized business foundation that is supported by passion, professionalism, and potential. So here's the ask. I'm asking that you award me the $5,000 and we can look into the future of System Sculptor. This money will go toward the continued development of the app to give the user an excellent experience. The opportunity to engage in the PACT year-long mentoring will assist with the expansion and development of this product, developing an extended marketing strategy, obtaining funding and financial support, and it will also help millions build knowledge towards starting a business. Thank you for your time, and here's my contact information for further information. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. Okay, judges, questions.
This is Kevin. I noticed you talked about your background in nonprofit. Is your product primarily focused on building nonprofit organizations, or does it cover nonprofit as well as for-profit?
Yes, it will cover both nonprofits and for-profits. I feel that, you know, with a business background for either one of them, whether it's for-profit or nonprofit, this app will be able to give people the knowledge that they need to be able to build a foundation.
Okay, so now with that, how is it segmented according to different industries, or are you just looking at the standardized foundation that you'll need to get started?
So there are several questions that are built into the app that ask about your industry, and that's helping the app build the AI database. So for example, if you are in the entertainment industry and you wanted to build a SWOT analysis, you answer 2 questions right now with the MVP, and that starts to build the database. So depending on what industry you're in, you can kind of separate it in that way.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking at the industries, how did you determine what those, what are you using to determine what those questions are? Teaming for the entertainment industry, like I've done hundreds of SWOT analysis, and I know it takes more than 2 questions. So I'm wondering how are you determining what those questions are for those industries?
Right, so right now, currently the database is only building it off of 2 questions: what industry you're in and what function that you want to use. But with the further development of this app, we will continue to do research and be able to talk with various businesses or entrepreneurs in these businesses to ask them the types of questions they wish they were asked prior to starting their business, and use that as the questions to add into the database.
And so are you targeting idea stage or growth stage businesses? And if one or the other or both, how are you determining which way to, which questions to ask who, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
So now we're targeting the idea stage for those new entrepreneurs that have an idea and they really want to get their business started. And so the questions that we have been formulating or trying to put together for the upgrades are focused on that. And then as the development of the app grows and the more questions we get and the more experienced entrepreneurs that we target, the deeper the questions will go into. And it will be able to start you either at the beginning or in the middle or at the end of the question and answer section, so that you can start where your level of experience is.
Your level of experience, gotcha.
So I didn't see your pricing model. So how long would a person, a business development person, need to have the app?
So it depends on their idea and the kinds of things that they want to do. So we started off with a free tier so that they can try it out, see if they like it. They can create up to 3 projects, but they can't save. They can save it, but they can't share it or they can't download it. The monthly or yearly allows them to continue over a shorter amount of time if they just want to use it for a month. And then for 1 project, maybe 2 projects, and then yearly will last for the whole year, and they can do as many projects as they need to. The vision for all of this is to be able to work with corporations and be able to work with organizations so that we can add another tier for enterprise, where they can have 3, 4, 5 team members working together to be able to build the foundation of their activities and projects.
This is Aron Starosta at the Science Center. How possible is it for somebody who's using your product for a little while to learn sort of what the app is doing and just become educated or empowered to do a lot of the work that you're doing on the app themselves because they've done it enough times?
Right. That is something that we have been thinking about, and we're still doing a lot of research on to see the longevity of it. This app was just launched live maybe about a week ago or so. And so we're still gathering that data. We're still gathering the information, reaching out to the users as of today to be able to get feedback for that.
And then a follow-up question. You had a stat, I think, maybe I misheard you. You said 73% of Americans want to start a business. Is that the correct stat?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any more additional questions? All right, thank you for that. And Vizmoo.
So Michael, are you able to share your presentation?
Michael, yes, how are you?
Because I have it here if you need me to share my screen.
Vizmoo is having technical difficulties due to the weather and they lost power.
Yeah.
We can probably go to the next person and have Vizmoo go at the end.
We can definitely do that.
All right.
We seem to lost Michael for now. Okay. After Vizmoo, we have xBound.
Okay.
Okay. Is that
This needs
Zay?
the screen sharing capability. Okay, here we go. Good evening, everyone. Hold on one second here. Good evening, everyone. Every day in America, 10,000 people retire. They walk out the doors of our businesses and nonprofits, and they're taking with them years of accumulated experience, wisdom, and technical knowledge. This massive waste of human capital is happening while our workforce is also undergoing an unprecedented transformation. Between current demographic challenges and the lasting impact of COVID-19, we have created the need for more experienced, flexible, and independent workforce. This is driving the need for companies to more easily connect to seasoned talent with their lifetime of business experience and wisdom. Our newer entrepreneurial companies are also discovering how seasoned talent can prevent real reinvention, allowing them to quickly promote operational efficiencies and develop best practices that allow innovation to occur. So let me introduce xBound, a digital platform dedicated to helping companies and organizations benefit from the valuable expertise and wisdom of late career and semi-retired professionals. xBound's targeted demographics will make it easy for companies to connect with and to create the diversified, experienced, and flexible workforce of the future. Seasoned professionals, they require little training or mentoring and are often very flexible in their salary and hourly requirements. We're going to emphasize the full range of work possibilities with part-time, project, full-time, and even volunteer opportunities. xBound is also going to be a source of training and learning. We understand that even the most experienced people often need to fine-tune their skills, and that businesses need to learn how to best use and benefit from this cohort. xBound is also going to drive user engagement that will help drive revenue with a news and forum section. We will be a source of highly curated information that will help our users embrace this new stage of business and career life. The market opportunity here is huge. In 2021, recruitment sites like Indeed and Upwork are expected to share a $7 billion market. In our research, when we asked HR professionals and recruiters, how much of your online recruitment budget would you dedicate to a site like xBound, we're surprised to hear consistently 20 to 30%. xBound's starting team is Team Exhilarate. We're leveraging our brand expertise and brand creation to launch this new platform. So let me take a moment to tell you a little bit about myself. I have spent a lifetime taking on hard challenges and building teams. From leading infantry soldiers into war zones to building ad hoc teams have allowed me to be a successful business person. And for the last 5 years, helping to create Team Exhilarate, a brand design agency that helps create and grow brands. Our approach to designing xBound is to create a user experience that is informative, simple, and friction-free. Our revenue is going to come from two distinct streams. The larger income component will be from companies paying us to post jobs, very simple. A second income component will come from targeted advertising on our news and forum section. We are just beginning right now to deploy targeted advertising that speaks to both sides of our network with an emphasis on how and why to hire a seasoned worker. With an initial ad spend of about $20,000 over the next 3-4 months, plus a robust public relations push, we're hoping of gaining enough site traction to allow us to prove the concept, allow us to start charging for job placements, allow us to refine, develop, and deploy additional features for xBound, and allow us to raise additional capital so we can blitzscale this company. The beauty of a dual-sided network like xBound is that we should be able to reach profitability in just a few short years. We are expecting to generate about 14 to 15 million in free cash towards the end of year 2. While this seems like a crazy goal, I have learned as a leader that setting high goals leads to big results. And even our most conservative projections, we are thinking we'll be profitable by year 4. In conclusion, xBound is going to revolutionize recruitment by connecting a valuable but challenged group, mature workers, with the companies and nonprofits who desperately need their knowledge. Your investment in xBound will be used for marketing and site development, helping us grow faster and become more profitable in a few short years. And your investment is also going to help millions of people maximize their late career human potential by helping our businesses and institutions grow stronger. We have a great market, we have a great product, and we have a team that can execute. And with that, I say, thank you.
All right. Thank you for that, Zave. All right, judges, you're up. Questions for xBound.
I love this. I'm just gonna say that. Dave, I have a quick question for you. Have you considered partnerships with like the Philadelphia Corporation for Aging, the Mayor's Office of Aging? What are some other ways that you can recruit and identify those levels of expertise as well as SCORE?
We're starting to reach out to those organizations, but to be completely honest with you, Tanya, I'm a little nervous because I don't want to get bogged down in bureaucracies. I want to get moving.
I get it.
And I'm using for inspiration more of Silicon Valley startups who move quickly, try, fail, go again, try, fail, go again. Okay. If I start hitting with SCORE and some of these other organizations, I'm going to spend a lot of my time not building a company, but answering questions of, who knows what.
So what is your speed up marketing strategy then to get people on the platform?
What we're going to do, building a dual-sided network is always a tricky thing at first, because you don't want so many jobs and no people, or too many people and no jobs. Mm-hmm. So we're doing a very soft launch, literally this week. And we're reaching out to a few hundred people, tell them about what we're doing. We're going to start by next week, reaching out to corporations who have a decent churn rate and can use this cohort. Send them a little letter, inviting them to try it out, not charge them, offer to help them even get on the platform if they're running into any technical difficulties, and slowly build from there. We're having an article written about us in Age Buzz, which is a website targeting older people, has a following of 5,000. That should be coming out next week. And then we're going to slowly put out more advertising. We'll do a major press release in about 3-4 weeks. I want to build it at first a little slowly, see what's going on, see if people run into any difficulties that we're not seeing and using the platform, and then start to build it from there.
And for an employer, what is the pricing model where do you fall at relationship to ZipRecruiter?
We're going to be right in the middle of that. We're going to be charging $395 for a full-time position, $295 for a part-time position, $195 for a gig position. And also for volunteer, let's say you're a church, you need a bunch of helping hands for food drive, that's always going to be free. That's how we're giving back. Smaller business accounts, we're going to use a freemium model. We're going to get them hooked at first, let them do a job or 2 or 3 for free, and then start charging them. The enterprise companies, companies like Home Depot or Comcast, we're going to go on a subscription plan, a SaaS plan, because that's what they want. That's what they're used to.
Thank you.
So Zabe, this is Kevin. I'm curious about what other applications are there for this app? Like, can it be used for diversity hires as well as?
Kevin, I'm very glad you asked that, because while it's not in this business presentation, what I would like to do, if we can get this technology up and running and prove concept, I will then partner with, there's 2 other cohorts I see out there that have a hard time with hiring and recruitment. One is the African-American community, and the other one's the Latin community. And what I would like to do, once we get this going, we got the technology down, it's running, is to partner with the organizations in those communities and build out a version of xBound that would handle those challenged communities also. Right now, I've heard that there is someone who's really pursuing a similar idea for the African-American community. If they're successful, I'm going to stay away. If they're not successful, I'm going to go after it. They also, down the road, way down the road, other industrial countries are having similar issues with demographics. You know, us boomers, we've been selfish since the 1950s, and we didn't have enough millennials to fully replace us, which is why there's such a demographic squeeze right now. Same is true in Northern Europe and in Japan. So if we can get this thing really working well, there's some opportunities there for exporting it.
Thanks.
Is there no question from the judges? Okay.
Thank you.
Zabe, thank you for that. All right, let's go with your care.
I'm going to get my screen share. Just waiting. Great.
Angela, have you heard from Michael?
Yes, we're going to do Michael's after this one, and he's good to go.
Okay, great. All right. Your Care Collective, you are up. Then from there, we'll go back to Vizmoo.
Okay, let me see if my... All right, are you seeing just my presentation, not the presenter view?
Yes.
Awesome. Just one moment. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Joelle Talafero, and I'm the founder and CEO of Your Care Collective, where we help increase the well-being of remote employees through community coaching and proactive healthcare solutions. I started my career in higher education, specifically in res life and housing, where I focused on building communities of care. Employees and students had access to an abundance of resources on those campuses for their mental, physical, and emotional well-being. When I transitioned into a remote role, I was disconnected from those traditional well-being services offered by in-office HR departments. This is one of the major problems for remote employees when it comes to their well-being. It also leads to a higher level of burnout from overproductivity and disengagement, being in the remote atmosphere and needing to navigate building their own structures for well-being, for their care, and for their overall physical, mental, and emotional health. For organizations, I've learned through our culture audits and assessments that there's a misaligned understanding of the well-being needs for their distributed teams. Oftentimes, this results in a lack of focus on well-being services, which leads to high turnover, reduced productivity, and lower team morale. Basically, it impacts their bottom line. Our services are a solution. Think of our services as direct well-being services and offerings meets a virtual community platform. So right now we are functioning, we are revenue generating for our direct services and are in the MVP stage for our community platform. For remote employees, they have access to a well-being community, which provides individual and group coaching, workshops, and resources. organizations have the opportunity to enroll their employees in our virtual platform or engage in custom workshops, culture assessments, and overall custom well-being communities, which would be launched by our team, managed, and provided industry-specific resources and support. I estimate a 1.2 million serviceable obtainable market. I really focused in on the small businesses in Philadelphia as if they were paying our annual subscription. This subscription rate is for the to be launched scalable model. So $39.99 per month, we would have an annual rate of $468 per employee. There's about 39% of small businesses across the nation that are enrolled in wellness programs, and I estimate that we could capture 2.5% of that market. I chose that number based off of the amount of B2B service conversion rate for tech companies. Here are some of our direct and indirect competitors. Right now, we're focused on these direct competitors as a service company. BetterUp Care is our most direct competitor. They also have a well-being service matching individuals and organizations with coaches. Our indirect competitors are where we based our business, our pricing model off of. So this is our aspirational competitors of Koa Mental Health, Parsley Health, and Noom. Our competitive advantage is that none of these organizations focus in on community. They're not community-based, and they really emphasize supporting and working directly with the organizations. And we know that sometimes only focusing on the organizations means that our individuals' needs are put to the wayside. This is our team. We use the Gallup Share Care Wellbeing Index to guide the services that we provide. So we have 3 out of our 5 wellbeing experts on the team. They're contracted and we pay them on a project by project basis. They come with a background of mental health, financial wellness, advising and accounting, and education. I am focused on building communities, including my team, and I really try to take the background and build our sales, our services, and our curriculum. We've had some traction. We're currently generating revenue and have been consistently since December 2020. We've launched our MVP through a no-code platform on Mighty Networks that has 55 members. And this is a little peek into our future. We are validating and adapting our community platform, and we'll move forward into the next step of our care team matching feature, which is what our projections are based off of. Our ask is for $5,000 to really make that transition from our direct services to our scalable model through support in our marketing, communications, and our everyday engagement in the community so that I can focus on visioning that future platform and bringing in more clients. Excited to hear your questions, and here is the contact information for your care collective.
Joelle, thank you for that. Judges, you're on.
How built out is the platform? It sounds like you're still doing a lot of service rendering rather than working off of a platform. Did I miss it?
No, you didn't. You did not miss that. So all of our revenue has been generated through direct services, but we have launched our no-code platform. So we used a platform called Mighty Networks to validate our community platform initiative. We have 55 individual members and are in the process of confirming our first organizational member into that community platform. From there, we'll get validation of how to serve them as a community, how to build out that custom industry-specific resources for organizations. We are also reaching out to and hopefully securing partnerships with recruitment agencies to validate the care team matching platform or process. So working in partnership with recruiters who have, let's say, a 90-day window where they guarantee that those employees will stay with the organizations they're hired for, we would provide coaching and well-being services for them within that window, and match them with their individual care teams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judges?
Where did you find the 55 people that are currently on, and what's your marketing strategy around this work?
Yes, so mostly off of social media or participants in our free monthly program. So currently we have a freemium model for our platform. Participants in the freemium model get access to a monthly well-being workshop and a monthly virtual co-working session. And so if they have enrolled in one of those sessions, which are promoted both to our listserv, through our social media, through direct outreach, they also get enrolled into our virtual platform.
Any other feedback or questions from the judges before we move on? Okay, Joelle, thank you for that. Now let's move on to Angela. Let's move on to Vizmoo. Is Michael ready?
I am. Can you hear
Excellent.
me okay?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, I had a power outage. Yeah, Angela, please do regular presentation. I've got my notes here on my laptop. I'm zooming off of my phone, so it's gonna be all kind of jangly. Sorry about that. And if it starts raining again, I'm gonna have to run inside and I might lose my network connection. We'll see. But we will go. All right. I am starting. I'm Michael, the founder of Vizmoo. We believe that serious therapy can be seriously fun. Therapists often use movement therapies with their neuroatypical clients, which includes people with autism, ADHD, and other challenges. Oh, sorry, next slide, please, Angela. I gotta get used to this now. Therapists help build critical, fundamental skills to improve their clients' everyday lives. Next slide. The problem is that movement therapies require a lot of repetition and attention to be helpful. For example, you may need to move blocks across your body hundreds or thousands of times. This quickly gets incredibly boring and tedious. Next slide. Oh, I'm going into low power mode. Sorry. Trying to get my phone charged. There we go. All right. Next slide, but I can't see what slide. There we go. Yes. Previous slide, please. Okay, great. Therapists have to focus intensely on a single client, so they can't effectively work with groups. And parents struggle to continue valuable therapies at home with their kids. Therapists and parents need effective therapeutic tools that are fun and engaging, that require much less of their involvement. Next slide. To address this problem, we built GrooveCatcher, a software program for virtual reality movement therapy. This is not simply physical therapy. It mimics and enhances real-world methodologies that target neuromotor and social development skills. The client wears a standard $300 consumer VR headset. It's easy to use. They follow and catch colorful lines that are synchronized to music and guide them through different movement therapies. And these lines can be easily customized by a therapist. Next slide, please. While we were showing GrooveCatcher around as a game, dozens of therapists told us they want to use it with their clients. It checks all their boxes for the engaging, empowering movement therapy tools they need. Next slide. Oh, no, that's fine right there. GrooveCatcher, yeah, stay right there, it's fine. GrooveCatcher is for individuals and for groups, and therapists can join their clients in the experience. It works for in-person or telehealth sessions. Next slide. A remote control app. Oh, sorry, previous slide. I'm getting confused between my two screens here. Right there, yep. A remote control app lets a therapist or parent watch and control the experience for lower functioning clients. And it motivates kids to continue important movement therapy at home with minimal help from parents. Next slide. Our MVP will be finished this month, and we can immediately start field tests with therapists and specialists who are waiting to try it with their clients. Next slide. We're developing a pilot study for the fall with Drexel University. Together, we'll go for STTR grants from NIH or NSF. Stay right there. And I'm writing up a patent for a particular therapeutic use that we've invented. Next slide. We're focusing first on helping the 6 million neuroatypical children in the US who can benefit from GrooveCatcher. Customers need only a $300 consumer headset, and we'll sell them software subscriptions. Next slide. We'll first target the B2B market, 90,000 therapists, 130,000 public schools. These customers don't require FDA approval or research data to use GrooveCatcher. Special education programs are a very important avenue for treatment. And we'll help them buy GrooveCatcher by writing foundation grants for them. This works outside of the school's regular budgeting process. And we'll help underserved schools and communities via scholarships and grant writing. Next slide. That right there. The TAM for this segment is about 165 million. This uses a simplified revenue model for now, with each therapist and school purchasing one subscription at an average $750 per year. We'll sell to early consumer customers when they come to us from a school or therapist, but we won't market to them at first. Next slide. There, stay right there, actually. In the future, we will also directly target consumers. Many parents are eager to find therapies for use at home based on therapist and peer recommendations. The TAM here is about $1 billion. This comes from 6 million users at $15 a month. Next slide, please. Virtual reality-based therapy is a subset of digital therapeutics and is a young, fast-growing market with many customers. I'm going to skip ahead. No close competitors except for one, possibly. Next slide. There's lots of room for new products. The therapists are similar with this idea, but not with VR therapies. So there's a lot of people that we can come to fresh. Next slide. Distinguishing features. We have a patent. Product is very much a video game. Great music integration, strong creative element for user-generated content. We're confident we can continue to generate new ideas. Next slide. I'm the founder and inventor. I've been doing software for 20 years, technical and creative creative projects, skilled amateur musician and dancer. I've had transformative personal experiences with various therapies. All these passions have now come together in this project. I've got experience with 2 past startups, and I can hold and grow the vision. Karen DeHaven, oh, sorry, next slide was fine, right there. Karen DeHaven is a dance movement therapist who's been advising me on therapeutic methodologies, and she's co-invented the patent. Next slide, please. And finally, the funding from this competition will help me buy VR headsets to start field trials this summer, and also get a little help for my patent application. And overall, your support and mentorship will help me learn and get more of what I need to bring GrooveCatcher to those who need it. Thank you. Whew, all right, whoops, my mic was down low. I hope you could still hear me okay.
Yeah, we heard you fine, Michael. Thank you for that. Whew. All right, judges, you're up.
All right.
Okay, Mike, it really looks like an awesome piece you got there. I got a couple questions. Number one.
Thank you, sure.
When you were going through your revenue streams, just to be clear, is your primary revenue stream for kids with special needs and autism, or is that second?
Yeah. No, that's primary. That's what we want to focus on because there's a niche to go there. This application can be used for other things in the market, like physical therapy or stroke rehab, but there's already people working on that. So we thought we'd go for a niche that is underserved and where we can really sort of show ourselves off to the therapists who really get what we're doing. And also the therapists I've started working with have a specialty in this market with this population. So it's really a great match.
And so how does the VR wear, how does that fit into the usage model? Are you providing that as part of the subscription?
That's a possibility. There's different ways to go. The simplest entry point is a $300 consumer headset that our software will run on. It's very easy to use. It's very popular right now, self-contained, no external hardware. It's a beautiful system. That has some drawbacks. We can't control it, and you have to have a Facebook account. There are options, about $700. All of this stuff is coming down every year. You know, next year it'll probably be $500, $600. That sort of professional model, we can preload the software and control the experience, and you don't need a Facebook account. It's So it's going to depend somewhat on the consumer, how much they're willing to spend, and what they want to trade off for privacy and controlled use.
Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Other questions from my phenomenal panel of judges?
Michael, question about how you maintain a client customer. Because you've got two really different business models. If you're selling to therapists who are then going to use it with their clients, they have a sell-through. They've got to convince somebody, or it needs to be reimbursed, in which case you've got an FDA pathway. The direct to consumer I sort of get, but then you've got a lot of marketing spend just for awareness purposes. Help me understand which direction you really want to go in.
Yep. Well, I think, so what I'm realizing I need to make more clear on the slide, even is the first market is just the B2B, because I can get to them more easily. They immediately understand what the need is. They recognize what's happening in the software. Like, oh, this is movement therapy, but it's fun. So it's relatively easy sell. Now they can spend out of pocket. Sometimes the therapist, the private practice, they just spend out of pocket. A clinic, the therapist can go to their supervisor and say, hey, we really want to use this. It's going to be great. I can give them free trials to convince them that it's going to work. And then they're sort of, more or less lifelong customers. They'll use it every year for every new client that comes in. They're going to advise that their clients, some of their clients use this at home. So they're going to start giving us B2C customers just from their recommendations, because these kinds of therapies need a lot of repetitions. The kids can't get enough just with a session with the therapist. So if the therapist can give it to them to use at home and say, hey, do these songs, do these levels, we'll give them an internet-based connection so they can monitor what's happening. Then the client can proceed faster, and the parent doesn't have to be very involved in this, and the therapist is happy as well. And even if the client only uses it for a year or two, we're getting a steady flow of new clients from the therapists and the schools. And then once we establish that, we can start to market to the consumer market directly. We'll have understood it a lot more by then.
All right, one last question from any of the judges. We're
Michael,
at time.
Michael, nice job. This is Aron Starosta. Did I understand that you have a patent, or that you were about or applying for a patent, or you have one you're about to apply for one? I wasn't clear on which one it was.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of writing it up, and we'll apply for the provisional probably later this summer. I'm sort of got distracted by all of these other things, but I'm writing it right now.
All right, Michael, thank you. And again, job well done, considering what you had to go through to get on with the loss of power, having to move outside, technical difficulty,
Thank you, technology. That's all I have to say.
Yes, indeed. All right, so you've heard, judges, you have a hard job this evening. Phenomenal presentations from everyone who presented. Congrats for such a great job. Can we just give everybody some reaction and the hands up? Everybody clap. Show people we appreciate the hard work and effort they put in that. We can tell that you definitely put in a lot of preparation, put in a lot of planning, and all of you did a phenomenal job. Judges, now it's on you. Angela,
I've got a question.
Who has a question?
It's Michael.
Go ahead, Michael.
Will we be getting a copy of the? Will we be getting a copy of the chat?
Will we be getting a copy of the chat? That's an Angela question.
We can give you a copy of the chat. Sure.
Yeah, I saw some people make some suggestions, so I wanted to see what that was.
Okay, we can definitely provide you that. All right, judges, we're going to go into a breakout room. Angela, directions for the judges to go into the breakout.
Yes, Emily's going to send all the judges over to the breakout room, and I'm going to pass things over to Tracy Brala.
Awesome.
Everybody,
I get to be the filler.
Everybody, let's welcome Tracy Brala, the visionary behind OnRamp.
Oh, there's lots of visionaries behind it, but I would say the person who reached out to you, Tom, to be our first founder in residence, and you and Angela were just an amazing team. For those of us who had this vision for what OnRamp could be, I would have to say that This exceeded my expectations by 1,000,000%. The number of folks who participated, the quality of these pitches tonight were absolutely phenomenal. So for folks who I may not have met, I actually didn't have an opportunity to participate in as many of the OnRamp sessions as I would have liked. So I didn't get to know you as much as I would, but I hope you will join us in person for those that are in the greater Philadelphia community. Because we are now in person. As you can see, I'm in the room, and we had probably about 20 folks throughout the course of the evening who were physically here in the room with us, and obviously a great number of folks online. So Emily, I think you were going to start by doing a fan favorite or a crowd favorite. So the folks who are on Zoom, you actually get to vote on fan favorite. I will moderate in the room. Folks in the room can actually see what's happening, but folks, do you want to call out in the room who your favorite was? It was tough. Kiddie Kredit. Here, we got 2 Kiddie Kredits. Fund. I got a fund. FUD, sorry. It was tough. It was really difficult. I was just amazingly impressed by the quality of the folks. Do we think most folks voted M? All right, so it does look like the folks in the room, if based on what I'm seeing, so Kiddie Kredit looks like, I need my glasses, 33, I guess I could look here this way, I'm looking across the room. 33% of folks voted for Kiddie Kredit, and then 17 for FUD, which is fantastic. So probably similar. Oh, actually, xBound. Ooh, 25%. I thought xBound was pretty great, considering I find myself potentially in that category sooner rather than later. So also, I know that we had some folks who talked about having some personal experience with Measure. And I would say, as I think about my parents, and as they left the workforce, really there was an amazing insight that team had around the need for that product. So tell me, folks, what was folks in the room or folks online, please feel free to jump in to tell us what you thought was the best part of the presentations. Folks online, did you guys learn anything that you didn't previously know?
I loved the spirit. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I love the spirit in which people who, they're committed to their either causes or purpose or, whatever they love to do. I love the spirit in which they, put it together and presented it to everyone. I love that.
So that's great. I couldn't hear, I couldn't see who was speaking, but and it was a little soft, but I would say that my general takeaway from what I heard was you loved the spirit and the passion behind the individual founders and how they were talking about their product. And so I agree with you. That to me made it really phenomenal. I think we have, we have someone in the room who is going to make a comment, so we're just getting them a microphone so you can hear them.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
One of the things that I really like is to see so many different people at many different stages of their lives tackling different problems that may be personal to themselves or that they see that there's potential to make a different impact. I feel like that was great, getting to see different folks like talk on that and what they're doing. That was incredible. So thank you.
I agree with that insight a lot. It speaks to the need for entrepreneurship so that we all have the opportunity to be creators and be founders and follow your passion, your individual passion. So I think that was a really great insight. Most folks were really talking about it, that the big epiphany came to them because of a need. Anyone else online? Any other thoughts or comments? Oh, I've got a comment. Go ahead online, and then we'll do, we have one in the room after the next person who is going to speak online.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Michael Stauffer. Okay, yeah, well, I was impressed by the range of pitches and really how good they were. And I actually picked up a couple things in the early pitches, and I made some quick changes to my presentation based on what I saw. I was like, oh, great, I can just edit this right here, a little fast thing. So thank you, everybody.
The beauty of going late and the beauty of a cohort. So that was really one of the great benefits of OnRamp, was the community that was formed and been able to be created.
I have to admit that I was listening to a Reid Hoffman podcast earlier this afternoon. I almost rewrote a whole section of my my presentation based on that, but I thought, no, that's too dangerous.
Suzanne, what would you have done? What would your edit have been if you, had the opportunity or had more time?
Yeah, he talked about the importance of a soft launch instead of blitzscaling right away, and how important it is to do a very soft launch, get to know your clients really, really well before you start to expand to your larger client cohort. And I thought that made a lot of sense.
Interesting, very interesting.
The whole thing about Silly is to build it fast and get it out there. And his attitude, he's the founder of LinkedIn, so knows a little bit what he's talking about, is to take it a little slowly at first and really get to know your customers before you make it too big.
I think there's a lot of value. I think there was several questions from the judges just around folks and asking the idea of what research they did. How did you get to know your customers? Certainly, Carlos was talking about seeing your own need, but just because you have a need, is your need scalable to a large group of people? What are their insights? I know Measure was talking about kind of having the data and the insights, but then also talking to the community who's going to use it to get feedback. And so I think that is really incredibly valuable. Emily, do you want to make your comment?
Yeah, well, it's funny, you brought it before, but just this idea of community and the benefits of sharing. And I know a lot of folks, that when you're starting your venture, it's so deeply personal. You don't always know when to share, how much to share. And there's just so much value in sharing that with other people. You never know who you're going to, connect with. There's connections happening as we speak. So it's just always really wonderful to see that happening and within the community, but also, the benefits of sharing that outside your cohort and connecting with other resources is always really wonderful to see.
That's awesome. Ellen, I know you've made a couple comments in chat, and I'm not sure that I caught them. I'm not sure if you have an opportunity to speak. I know I could probably capture an essence, but if you wanted to say them, that would be great.
This is Ellen. I had jury duty, so I came in a little late, but I've been watching the companies from week to week, and I could really see the progress, and I could see that people had taken in information and ideas that they had heard in the cohort over time. So that was pretty cool. The other comment that I made was just kind of, echoing off, I think it was, Zav and Tracy, was, in terms of, starting slow, when you do that, the more the best entrepreneurs that we've seen are the ones who are able to get great data on their customers and their customer behavior early on, and can figure out what to tweak and what works and what doesn't work. So if you do start slowly, start with a plan in mind for what you're going to test about what works and what doesn't work.
That's great. Thanks, Ellen. And Ellen, I know has been participating in a lot of the sessions and appreciate that, and is an investor with Robinhood. So appreciate that she sees a lot of these pitches, and it's great to hear the progress that she was noting, and also the metrics. I think that, you know, as we think about the utilization of data, it is incredibly important for us to think about that and how we're collecting that and measuring that throughout the course of our startup journey. If you were a judge, is there feedback that you would want to provide to any of the participants? So like something that you thought they could be a little bit more clear on. It sounds like, Michael, I wasn't monitoring the chat either, but it sounds like there might have been some feedback in the chat for some folks, but if there's other suggestions that folks had that they wanted to share aloud. Oh, Emily's going to go again.
I think also, I mean, tying back to my comment earlier about the power of community, I think getting straight to the point of why you are, because that's always my first question when I hear pitches, well, why do you want to do this and what, you know, drew you to this? So I think, you know, the faster you can get there, the better. And that's just in my opinion. From pitches I've seen, I find that the ones that, you know, stick with me the most are the ones who are like, this is why I'm invested. This is why I'm so invested. This is why this is my life and why you should trust me. Because I think that also builds trust with the people that you're, you know, talking to.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot too. So kind of getting to the punchline out of the gate as opposed to the slow build, so that you get you know, the investors' attention from the beginning, so that they're vested in kind of the story that you're going to tell. Ellen, did you have another comment?
I did. There were a bunch of comments about Michael, and I thought it was really important to talk about that, because that was great under pressure. And I've seen presentations blow up, and I've seen entrepreneurs blow up when the presentations blow up. And so by staying calm and just kind of going with the flow, I think that really shows a lot about how you as an entrepreneur will perform when things aren't going well. So kudos.
That is a great insight, Ellen. And, you know, I know that from the team, and we had 10 pitches, we offered the opportunity to share their slides beforehand, and not everyone took advantage of that. So I think maybe 7 of the 10 companies did. Obviously, Michael did. And so what was able to happen was that Angela was sharing it in this room. And so it really enabled what was going to be a potentially disastrous situation, because he was prepared. Obviously, I'm sure, Michael, you would have not, you know, if you could have a do-over, your power would not have gone out, but completely agree. Everybody that was here in the room and that was kind of like whispering to each other was saying, kudos to you for really, you know, kind of pressure, you know, being able to be cool under pressure. One of the feedback I had was really around for mission athletics. I think the judges touched on this a little bit, was being able to make the jump from your data of, you know, under 15 is when we lose athletes, to why your product is actually resolving that particular need. And so understand that there's a problem, but being able to make a little bit of a stronger correlation as to what your product is. I also thought one of the interesting things in that particular product was your distribution strategy, so that you are actually going to go to schools versus direct to consumer, which there is potentially more competition in that area. So I thought there was some interesting nuances there, and that was one piece of feedback that stood out for me. Any other folks from a feedback standpoint? We've got another one in the room, so we'll just passing a mic.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make an overall statement and just applaud all of the companies that presented. I really enjoyed especially the hook of your pitch. I think that it's really hard sometimes when, there are pitches one after another to have like a fresh idea. And I just think that everybody did it so enthusiastically and uniquely. And every new presenter had me, really involved and interested to hear what the rest of your company had to say. So I just wanted to applaud that part, especially of your pitches.
Awesome. Thank you. Any folks online? Any general comments?
Yes, this is Huan from System Sculptor. I just want to say, thank you for everything that OnRamp is doing. And I just want to say congratulations to everybody, because I think everybody had a phenomenal pitches. I think the competition was very steep, and good luck to everybody.
Thanks, Ewan. That was a great comment. I loved your green, that it matched your slide presentation. So I was also taking note of that. I thought that was really, really smart strategy for you.
Thank you. That's by design.
That's smart.
Hey, this is Ayal. I wanted to say thank you for organizing it. Like not only this event, like the entire series of events during the Corona, before the Corona, like really thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Another feedback, I've talked to a lot of venture capitalists, angel investors, and all that. I review pitch decks for friends and people that I meet on Twitter. And one of the things that I've seen is that the way a pitch deck, the slides look, are they clean? Do they have, is it clear what you want to communicate? Appearance matters a lot. I know a lot of VCs that if it doesn't look right, they're just gonna toss it out. So making sure that your pitch deck is clean, is organized is one thing. And another thing that I see is that a lot of people, they like to throw in fancy words, AI, machine learning. And then when they ask, like, how are you gonna implement that in your pitch, in your application, they don't really know how to answer that question, just because, oh, AI, machine learning, like buzzwords, right? That might get attention, but if you don't know how to answer that, that's gonna make them not want to talk to you at all. So making sure that it looks clean and knowing what's going on the pitch deck and being able to talk about that are like two of the big things that I've gotten personally. So
I think that's great advice. I would also jump in for me. And again, maybe most of you probably don't know this about me, but I started out my career as a CPA. So, fun fact, you could do anything in your long trajectory of a career. But I'm keen on making sure people know their financials cold. And so just really feeling comfortable with that. And, oftentimes you hear in, things like presidential debates about how people prep candidates for that. To me, that's an area where you want folks prepping you so that you feel comfortable, so that you look credible for your audience when you're participating and giving that feedback. How about feedback on OnRamp? So I know probably most folks that are here actually had an opportunity to go through the sessions. Was there a particular OnRamp session that really stood out to you as kind of being a favorite of yours, either a presenter? Did you have an aha moment in how it shifted how you thought about your business?
I can jump in. This is Joelle from Your Care Collective. I really appreciated my coaching session with Eamon, and I feel like it would have been super useful to have that a couple weeks before the pitch competition. I was traveling last week, so we chatted while I was on the train yesterday, and even that half hour the day before my pitch, I think really impacted my preparation and felt really beneficial. So I would say the coaching session was the absolute most beneficial, and the sooner the better.
That's great feedback. And I saw someone else kind of popped that up in chat as well. So Eamon is a master. For folks who are here, he and Aron typically run Startup Roundtable from 6 to 7 most Thursdays as part of Venture Cafe. And the opportunity to participate in that is that it's really an opportunity to practice your pitches. So I know some other folks who are on the call have participated in that. It's a community. You get feedback, you get insights. They ask you some of those questions. And I've really enjoyed having an opportunity similar to what Ellen was saying, just to see folks progress. So, you might come to an on-ramp or practice your pitch, startup roundtable 1 week, go back, do your homework, come back another time, 2 or 3 weeks later, come back another time, a couple of weeks later. And there's really an opportunity to continue to see and grow that development. And that's a resource to all of you, whether you're part of the community or not, part of the OnRamp community, you're actually part of the broader Venture Cafe community. So please feel free to use that after this is over as well. There's a little bit of, I know there's probably going to be a formal announcement when we come in. I'm not sure if everyone saw, but the second cohort of OnRamp, we are actually accepting applications for. Applications are due July 25th. Tanya Morris, who is one of the judges, is actually going to be the founder in residence. And folks who went through this session are obviously invited to apply. Like all of the OnRamp sessions, you can actually come in and drop in a session. So if you really felt like financials, for instance, were something that you wanted to hear another speaker's perspective on, please feel free to drop in to those sessions at any time. You also can participate in the entire next cohort again. There's no number of times that you can participate because we recognize that folks are on their journey, their startup journey, and you need different needs at different points in time, so you hear things differently. I can stop talking now because I see the wonderful judges are back. So thanks everybody for participating and helping us learn a little bit about opportunities to improve and getting some feedback. So thank you.
Tracy, thank you as usual. Wonderful stepping in, and we appreciate your leadership around all of this. All right, everybody. It's been as you can see, we're down to the wire. We're 4 minutes before. It was a tough call with much debate, arm wrestling, slugging it out in the breakout room. But the judges, being who they are, the professionals that understand that despite everyone doing a phenomenal job tonight, I want to reemphasize that. Everyone did a phenomenal job. You are all winners. But for tonight, there can only be 3. And the 3 winners for OnRamp's inaugural cohort for its program. I'm going to do reverse order as they do in the movies and on television. And leading up to who's going to be number 1. Coming in at number 3, done a phenomenal job. It was a tough call, but coming in at number 3 is PopCheck, Erica Dillard. PopCheck, Erica, congratulations for your 3rd place win in this competition.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Coming in at number 2, the person with the solution to solve the credit problem, Michael Gross, Kiddie Kredit. Kiddie Kredit, Michael, congratulations.
Thank you. Very much appreciated.
You're very welcome. And coming in at number 1, it was a tough call, but he came through like a true champion who's looking to change the paradigm about how we recruit and place people in tomorrow's workforce. xBound with Zabe. Zabe, congratulations for coming in at #1.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You'll be hearing from Angela as a follow-up email on how to claim your prizes. And again, first place, correct me
I'm
if I'm
driving
wrong,
over right now.
First place will be $5,000. Second place, Angela, is $2,500. Third place is $15,000. Also, too, you guys will get a free membership, year membership in the PACT, as well as a designated mentor, which is going to be a big deal. So hopefully one of you might even land with Glen, you know, who's been one of our phenomenal judges this evening. As a matter of fact, Glen, you chair the investor network at the PAC, right?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I chair at Mid-Atlantic Diamond Ventures. Different group, shared mission.
Okay, different group, shared mission. He writes checks. Okay, so those are the kind of people you want to get to connect with. And that's what the membership in the PAC is going to offer our 3 winners tonight. Again, it's really been an honor for me to host OnRamp for the last 10 weeks in partnership with my partner in crime, Miss Angela McQuiggan. Angela, final words.
I just want to say congratulations to the winners. And this was a really great night. Everyone was phenomenal. So thank you so much.
We do thank you. And final comments going to go to a shout out to Miss Tanya Morris, one of our other judges, who will be cohort 2's founder in residence. Tanya, do you have some words of wisdom you want to share with people? This is your first commercial for your program.
Thank you so much, Tom. Tom has been a mentor and a colleague and a confidant for me for many, many years in my professional career. So I consider it a great honor to be getting it handed off from Tom. And I am so excited about being a part of OnRamp. I've been a regular at Venture Cafe, a presenter, and I just love this community. And I'm looking forward to these presentations. You all did an amazing job. And I'm looking forward to the second cohort presenting all in person. And I am totally looking forward to bringing you all some great presenters and some great subject matter experts as a part of our next program. We start on July the 29th, and we are excited and looking forward. So please, if someone would drop the link in the chat for those that are still with us, please come join us, join our next cohort, and we'll see you on the 29th. Thank you again.
And also, just to add to that, we're accepting applications now. And if you've participated in the first cohort, you could still do the second cohort as well. It'll be different speakers and just a little bit of a different perspective. Also, can everyone who participated in OnRamp please fill out our exit survey? We need to collect this data so we can do we can take it into consideration for next time.
Yes.
So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Also, too, which means the second cohort, there's going to be another pitch competition, a chance to win this money all over again. So everybody, this is the Science Center. We here to help this community grow and invest in you. So again, thanks everyone for attending tonight. Judges, thank you for all your support in the program. All my facilitators who've been here and been support of OnRamp, we thank you and good night.
Good night.